word wizards. I'm so excited to bring you our guest today. Yamilca is fabulous and she has a lot to bring to us, both from the business side of writing and also just kind of the creative side, thinking about your your ideal reader as you're writing it, thinking about how you can use it to monetize for your business, which I know a lot of you who are listening have thought about maybe writing a book to help your business but haven't gotten there yet. And then we're going to talk a little bit about helping female entrepreneurs, which, as everyone who's listening probably knows, being a writer and a female writer is being an entrepreneur, a female entrepreneur. So, without further ado, I just want to welcome you to the show. Thanks for coming on today.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited.
Me too, me too. I'm going to read her bio because it's very impressive, and I think everyone needs to know. So, Yamilca Rodriguez is best known as a former brand leader at the most significant brand building company globally, Procter and Gamble Company. For decades, she has been helping brands and individuals create unforgettable experiences. She was featured in Forbes magazine, just, little side magazine, The Voice Tribune, The Courier Journal, Today's Woman, and Style Blueprint. She is a three-time #1 best-selling author of Women Who Boss Up, Ignite Entrepreneur, and Women Gone Wild. She has worked on billion-dollar brands like Ski, Olay, and Crest 3D White, to name a few of them, and she was a TEDx speaker and has spoken nationally and internationally. She was nominated for Most Admired Woman in the beauty category for 2 years, and she has done everything from teaching yoga to teaching MBA students design thinking. She loves spending time with her husband and stepson in their Kentucky home. So, besides the fact that that's just an impressive portfolio in itself, the first question that we kind of want to kick this off with is, what inspired you to write about this? What did you see a need? Did you want to spread the word? And where did you get your inspiration from?
Yeah, thank you. So the just to confirm, the first three books I did were collaborative books. And so that really kind of helped me frame how I really wanted to position my own book. And so I'm a brand specialist, so I really help people with their personal brand. And so I wanted to write a book on how to help people express themselves through their brand, because whether you like it or not, you're a brand.
Mm,
And it's very important to understand your, what I call the brand essence, the foundation of the brand, so then you can attract the right individual.
hmm And you are your own brand as a writer, you're your own brand. And something that we've talked about in our show before is that even if you are a traditionally published individual, then you still have to do a lot of your own marketing and brand, and you are working on your own brand all the time because you are your brand, like you say. And I am curious, with your experience, getting published, was there anything in the writing process, the creative writing process, or in kind of trying to get that out to the world that was unexpected for you, that was maybe something that you hadn't foreseen when you started on that journey?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So, when I started this book took about a year and a half to kind of put together. And it was because I started it and then I was writing it with somebody else. And then we decided to not write it together. And I just go back to write it by myself. But through that, I was trying to figure out, how do I put the outline together? What is the right sequence of the book? Because I had so much information to figure out how to structure it in the book. And I had forgotten that I had taught story and how to really think about your story through the 12 steps of story by The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell. And so I took that old piece of paper out and I just followed the steps. Right. And that's, my chapters are more than 12 chapters, but it was did help me really put together, like, what's the you always start the hero story with the current life, and so what is my current life like? What's the discovery that we make, right? What, the ups and downs of the book. And so you really need to understand, first of all, your brand. What is your brand about? What's your brand character? And I do that
Mm,
through archetypes. So really using Jungian archetypes to define your brand character. So then
mm,
you're exuding your brand character through the book. But the key is to understand your super fan, what I call your super fan, the one that attracts more of your specific brand character.
mm,
And so if you know your brand character, you're going to know that super fan. And that's the person who you're writing to.
Hmm. So, I mean, you'd have to be clear on your brand first before you can be clear on your super fan, yeah. But uh, considering your super fan, I mean, do you end up writing it, excuse me, writing it differently with your super fan in mind? I mean, are there, you talk about there's psychology behind this, behind choosing your super fan. Do you want to kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes. So I love to talk about this. I get a little geeky on this side, but
Yeah.
basically, so let me tell you about the difference between Jung and Freud, right? We all know Freud, we all know Jung. Freud believed that we came into this world with a blank canvas, and every experience that we had forms our identity. But Jung believed that we came into this world with all these past lives, all this generational things. So we had this knowledge and understanding that we could tap into like a computer and really bring that understanding to life as we, developed our understanding of the world. And so within that, he also knew that there were these 12 different archetypes. And so these archetypes define the persona, but also had characteristics that each one of these brought together. So really understanding that character fully helped me understand how I wanted to write this brand, and kind of through the story of the book, I call it the brand therapist, because I do feel like the whole book is around, it's called Brand Therapist, and really understanding branding through psychology,
Mm,
right? And so I
yeah.
use psychology for brand because you can't break psychology. We are all
Mm,
humans, right? And so
mm,
understanding human behavior is really important to understand your personal brand. So once you understand your brand, and I wrote different stories why I wasn't doing my, using my personal brand, or why I rejected it, really took me a long time to figure this stuff out. And then understanding that opposite, and the reason why I'm attracted to it, and the reason why they're attracted to me, and using that to kind of, think about the message. So when I was writing the book, I was like, okay, how should I write this paragraph using some of the words that this super fan loves, right? Because my super fan is an explorer, and they love curiosity and
mm.
understanding things that are different. And so really writing that book, as I wrote each chapter, thinking of him as my endpoint, or as I wrote stories.
Yeah. And I love that you talk about using the lingo that they're familiar with and kind of incorporating that kind of verbal it's not poetry, but it's definitely a creativity that I think a lot of people appreciate. And for those of you who are listening that are, more in the nonfiction category or creative nonfiction genre, that's what you're writing. This is so important, is presenting in your proposal and during the writing process, to the ideal reader, and thinking about what they're looking for and how this is going to fulfill their needs. And you'll see immediately in the query process, they'll ask you questions about, well, how's this going to fit the audience that it's for? How is this going to appeal to them? So looking into that psychology is just fascinating. And we're running low on time, but you definitely need to look at Yumka's um, just her process and read her book. She could really help you with this, and I think there's a lot to be seen from, of course, human psychology. That's where it all comes from, and where it all starts, and how it appeals to writing. And just as a wrap up question for our last question here, I just wanted to touch on your passion behind helping female entrepreneurs, and what you believe that they can bring to society today.
I'm so excited about this because I believe that women, we have uh, so many ways to give impact to the world. And I believe that if you really understand your purpose and what you're striving for and your mission, you can do anything in this world. And we as women, I think more than men, we want to have an impact that's more than ourselves, and helping other women, supporting other women in our community. So really that's my mission, is for this book. Obviously I wrote it for everybody, but mostly for women entrepreneurs that really want to take their brand to the next level, and really want to understand what is the best way for them to grow their business
Mm,
and have an
that's
impact in the world.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's our plaque quote of the episode. We always have a guest say something so profound, and I think that's a great way to wrap it up. So for those of us who are listening who want more of you in our lives and want to learn more about what you have to offer, where can we go? How can we connect with your community?
Yes, you can go to Yamilca Rodriguez Branding on Instagram, or LinkedIn is another one of my favorite social media places where I hang out, and that's yes, Yamilca Rodriguez, or Facebook, Yamilca Rodriguez. So any of those three are kind of where I hang out, and you can find me.
And read her book. And read
And read
her
my
other
book.
three.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
I'll
The
see.
book will be launching, I think in a month. So come
That's
and
amazing.
purchase it.
Yeah. Yeah, and learn from it, learn from the psychology. Well, Yamilka, you have so much wisdom to offer, and I wish we could talk for longer, but I'm so grateful that you were able to come on. Thank you for making the time for that. And we'll have you stick around here for a minute, but for all of our listeners, all of our word wizards out there, right on.